Welcome back, everybody, for this last installment of my sit down with Alan. Last time we left off talking about some bad weather situations. We continue that theme with this series, and Alan starts out talking about a pretty dangerous situation he found himself in while hiking through the White Mountains. And from there, it all builds up to that final hike up Mount Katahdin at the end of the trail. So, won't keep y'all waiting any longer. Here's that last part of my sit down with Alan.
This story was leading up to what actually was one of the most intense days on trail. And I actually kind of feel like I want to tell you about this, man.
Yeah,
it really blew my mind.
Let's go for it.
So, Lake of Clouds hut, and we each eat like 4 bowls of soup, and we come out and we start going up and over Mount Washington and down the other side, and it's like 50-mile-an-hour winds pushing us around, and it's gusting at 60 or 70, and we're like literally on the side, like we're like walking on boulders on the side of this cliff, like sideways like this, like a Michael Jackson video, trying to like get ourselves just ahead of the storm. We can see the storm coming in, and we get to the Madison hut, and we got lucky that we got there early enough that there was nobody that was actually trying to do work for stay there, because they limit how many people can do it.
Okay.
So they let us do work for stay, and we got to sleep in the hut that night whenever the storm rolled in. So next morning we get up and the storm is still rolling, and it's blowing, and it's mostly just blowing wind, and it's blowing just as hard, 50, 60 mile an hour winds, 70
Insane.
gust. And we got to go up and over Mount Madison, which is about, it's about a half mile hike up to the top of Mount Madison, which is like, over 5,000 feet. And then you come down the other side across like a tableland, and it's all boulders that you got, like uneven boulders and stuff that you have to traverse and to get down below tree line. And that whole thing is about like 2 miles. We waited around trying to actually like see if it was going to blow out, and it wasn't going anywhere. So about 9:30 or so, we finally were just like, look, we got to go. We just got to go and do this, otherwise it's probably just going to get worse. So me and Crash and this guy Golden, who's like an older guy, like in his mid-60s, 3 of us head up and over Mount Madison, and I think that it's one of those, like, it was so intense that you don't even have time to be scared about what's going on.
You're just going.
Right. I mean, when we got to the summit of Mount Madison, we literally had points where we were on all fours. Just trying to hold on to the rocks and get across the top of this while the wind is gusting across us and trying to blow us off the top. And additionally,
y'all are over tree line, so you don't have a windbreak.
Right, we're completely exposed.
Yeah.
And it's blowing mist and everything on us. So I didn't actually have rain gear at that point. I had my down puffy jacket that I had to put on, and I'm in that with gloves and shorts and a cold cap, and that's that was the only thing I had to keep me warm. And by the time we actually got to the other end of it, I was soaked head to toe.
Oh yeah.
But it was really challenging. It was probably like the most challenging moment. And I, to be honest with you, aside from actually like finishing, it was probably like the greatest feeling moment when I got out of it. Like the greatest feeling of success of actually having like conquered something.
Absolutely.
Because it wasn't that we were just
the trail tried to stop you.
Oh, the mountain
didn't let it.
And the mountains tried to throw us off the side,
right.
But it wasn't just that, It's one thing whenever it's just yourself, right, and you're pushing your limits up and over that. But as a team, like Crash and I, like we had said from the beginning, when we got into the whites, we knew that it could get burly, and all the tales of people dying out there has to do with being by themselves and getting hypothermic. So it was like, look, we're gonna do this together. We're gonna stick together.
The buddy system is.
Yeah, and then Golden, he was by himself.
Right.
And he needed to get up and over and down into Pinkham Notch.
I mean, just like all y'all did.
Just like we all did.
So come on, let's go.
So yeah, he didn't want to do it by himself, because he fell a lot. He probably fell 20 times in that 2 miles, but we were there, and it was like we spent the entire time picking him up and carrying, like helping him get up and over that, and in addition to getting ourselves there. And like I said, it was so intense that we didn't even have time to really feel how dangerous the moment was until
Right.
we were up and over and down the other side with a beer in our hand.
When you get to safety, you look back in hindsight.
Right.
That was a bad decision.
Yeah, time. Well, it was.
But it was awesome.
It was awesome, and the thing was, it wasn't even necessarily a bad decision. I mean, it was an informed decision.
Well, you assessed the situation. You knew it was going to be burly. You knew there were risks involved.
Mm-hmm.
Confident in your abilities. You were teamed up.
Mm-hmm.
So if something did happen to one of you, somebody can either help you through, or all right, bunker down here. Go get somebody.
Exactly.
So, you had that safety working for you. You need to do it.
Yeah.
If not, you're going to be stuck here for a while. Do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's what we did. We did that. We looked out for each other and got across the top, and that was very satisfying. It was definitely very satisfying. So going back and talking about the Trail Angels. The Trail Angels, man, they, like I was saying, it's a lot of people who have been, there are a lot of people around that are around the trail in the communities that just know what people are doing, and they love to go out there and help out. Or it's family of people who have through hiked, and in a lot of cases, it's people who just through hike. They've done it.
They get it.
They've been there, and so they come back out to give back to the community that gave so much to them, and
that pay it forward, mentality.
Yeah, and it's a wide variety of things that they give back. Some people come out and they cook food and have beverages. Some people even do it as extravagantly as like having these full setups with all the food and ice cream and all the things, but also like knit caps and like supplies,
right.
Any kind of like medical supplies you might need.
Yeah, restock your first aid kit.
Yeah, they even had I even saw them with like Wi-Fi setups, and they would have like a guy who's like doing gear repair. It was like a hiking club that had all of that, but for the most part, all the trail magic that you would get from these Trail Angels, what it really came down to was, if it was like a rainy day and you really needed to like get into town, or you were just having like a really, really bad day, you were starting to have you had just a bad week, and and at the right time they came along and just they had an apple and a smile, man, or like they had they just showed up and they were like, hey, you really, you don't really seem like you're doing too well. Why don't you just come stay the night, man? Why don't you come over and we'll grill up for you, and we'll give you a bed, you can have a shower, do some laundry. And a lot of times that's, that small thing, it's a small offering for anyone,
right.
It's
something very small for them to offer, but it's such a large thing to the person receiving it.
It's huge. The impact is like so profound.
And we talked about the bowl of hot soup. The simple bowl of hot soup being such a morale booster.
Yeah.
A shower, a bed, a hot meal, and a friendly face to help you out. And then, like you said, a lot of these people have done it before. To talk about your current experiences and, just to, you've done it, hey, what's this next section looking like, blah, 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 get some info from them. Just that in itself can take your mind off of it and just rejuvenate you.
Yeah.
And you're fresh. You go back into it fresh.
Yeah.
I completely understand that.
Well, and I think like probably the biggest thing about it is someone that has absolutely no investment in what you're doing. They don't know you. They don't know anything about you. They don't know your name. They'll know where you're from because they'll ask you. They'll be like, oh, where are you from? Louisiana. That's cool. Like, what part? But anybody that talked to me, it's like they didn't know my name was Alan.
Right.
Your
trail name.
They knew my trail name, which was Ninja Roll. That's what I went by. And like when they asked me my name, it was always, my name's Ninja Roll. This is Crash.
Right.
Like that's how you introduce yourself, and that's how they know you and remember you. And
yeah,
so
they might have met 50 Allens, so Alan just becomes Alan, but they don't meet another Ninja Roll.
Well, they hopefully not.
Right.
I don't want anybody taking my name. No, no. I mean, right?
It's been trademarked, so
Yeah, leave it alone, guys. No, but they, it's like, yeah, they meet you. They don't know anything about you,
No.
and they do it out the kindness of their heart, which is really pretty amazing feeling.
They've been through this hike. They know
Well,
what
even
it's
people
like.
who haven't.
Yeah,
They're-
but they live. They live in the community. Yeah, I'm sure they've hiked sections of it. I'm sure they get out there and do some backpacking and stuff like that on there, but they see it.
Yeah.
They see people go through it, and they're part of the community. Maybe they go out there and help maintain trail or something like that.
Some do, or some people are just out there, have no idea about it whatsoever, and encounter you, and then you share with them. They're like, "What do you like? You have this pack. What are you doing?" Like this, I met this British couple on Blue Ridge Parkway, and they were just stopped at this viewpoint, taking a picture, and I started
Scenic
talking to
route.
them. They were like, "Oh, where are you going to? What are you doing? Why do you have this pack on?" And I'm like, "Well, let me tell you about this trip I'm doing." And I just kind of shared with them like the quick synopsis of the Appalachian Trail through hike, and they thought it was absolutely the most brilliant thing they'd ever heard of. And actually, they did a lot of they did the long walks in Britain. It was like something that So
they got the big pilgrimage in Spain. They got that
Camino
big hike.
over there and everything, right? But they had a basis to actually appreciate it. Like they were like, blown away that I was doing this, and just like reached in, like they just had extra food in their van, and they're like, "Here, have this," And she even had like a banana that had "Smile" written on the side. I don't know why did she even have that? She didn't know,
right?
But she just had a banana. It said "Smile" on it, and I didn't notice it until I was going to walk away, and I go to open the banana, and I'm like, "Oh," and it put a smile on my face. It's like the smallest thing like that. And it does make a difference, and it picks you up, and it helps you do a few more miles. It's good.
It doesn't take much to push yourself through. Well, not even to push yourself through, to get yourself to a point to where you don't need to push yourself to go an extra 5 miles and make that your long day.
Right.
Something like that can just take your mind off of it long enough to just, oh wow, I went a little bit further than I planned on. All right, this is a good spot. Yeah. So we've gone through that. We're running a little long. Last 100 miles, the wilderness. Let's talk about the last leg.
It's it's the easiest and the hardest thing to do, because to be honest with you, when you get there, like the terrain itself is not that difficult. You do a few climbs for about 60 miles or so, but the last like 40 miles is pretty much red carpet hiking. Some people actually do like 30-40 miles just like in a day because it's so fast.
Right.
And they want to be done.
Is it you're ridge walking? You're up on that ridge, just following.
There's a lot
it
of ridge,
through,
but like actually, once you get off the last of the last of those, I think the last real kind of bump you go over is called Nassunta Bunt, and when you come down off the back side of that, the north end of that, it's mostly you're just staying down and you're hiking in between the mountains and heading towards, like, Mount Katahdin sits out by itself. So there's a lot of kind of like valley area around it that's wooded, and you're going through that, and around a lot of lakes and ponds and stuff. And it's absolutely, I mean, it's one of the most beautiful places. But I think probably the biggest thing with that is it's the area where you get like your first actual look at Mount Katahdin after that whole time, which is a pretty intense feeling. And then on top of that, the last town before you hit the wilderness is Monson, Maine, and coming out of Monson, you know that when you're done with this leg, you're done. And so there's a lot of excitement on the inside of you to like get there, but at the same time, after 5.5 months of being out there, you get really tired.
Yeah.
And and as much as you love being out there, you start to miss your friends and your family, and you know that like you're right there. And you don't want it to be done, but at the same time, you want to be doing anything else.
Right. It's like, man, it's such an awesome story. I don't want it to end, but thank God it's almost over.
Right, exactly. And so it's it's definitely a very tumultuous kind of wrestling with these feelings going on through that last week of hiking. I mean, I actually tried to stretch it out a bit, and we spent 3 days in Monson just like buying time.
Right.
And we finally made ourselves. We were like, okay, we're gonna make ourselves go, and this is the date we're gonna finish at. We're just gonna do it, and but it was amazing, and I think that one of the hardest things was, about doing the whole thing and finishing. I mean, it was like the best feeling I've ever had in my life, just getting up to the sign.
Mm-hmm.
And having the entire trip just kind of like flood back this way, you
Right.
know, and I'm just like, oh my god, my entire, it's like that movie they talk about, like seeing like your life,
Yeah.
it's like the whole trip flashed in front of my eyes, and then I'm like here, and which was even more amazing, okay, because it was a really stormy kind of day.
Yeah.
Storm was rolling in, and we left super early to get ahead of it, but it was just socked in, and we couldn't see 50 feet in front of us. And so like we're heading up there, and we can see around us until we get to the tableland, which is like the last like mile and a half up to the top, and then the clouds come in, and we can't see the sign, but we know where Baxter Peak is. And so like we're hiking along, and our buddy Fish and Chips, he was ahead of us. And so we're going, and we're like looking for it, and there's that anticipation, and we're like looking to see it, and we can't see it, but we kind of know where it's at. And then all of a sudden, this, we hear him. He gets there, and he lets out this like super triumphant yell, and so immediately we were like bats on a bug, like echolocated,
Right.
man. And we're like, there it is, the sign's right there. We know where we're going, man. And so like we're not even talking to each other
Right,
at this
you're
point.
just
We're just like
going.
dude, we're just like going, and we got our eyes like on that spot, man.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like out of the fog,
Here it comes.
we start to see like the side of the sign, because you come up from it to the side, so it's like this angle, this like pyramid that's just, and you can see it there, and and it's like everything just starts coming out this way, and you're just like, it's like you're losing it, and you don't even know you don't even know what to think. It's just such an amazing feeling to know that that you accomplished that.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
But then on the other side of it, you come down, and it's a 5.5 mile hike up from Katahdin Stream Campground to the top of Katahdin, and you have to do that back down. And coming back down is the other end of it, right? Because you finished.
Yeah.
And so it was really tough coming down and walking back down to the campground to wrestle with the idea that this lifestyle,
This journey
is done. It's not done for good in your life, but this moment of beauty that you've been, kind of just exaltation, man, like living inside of it, all of a sudden it's done, and where you're living is changing, and it's not on the trail.
Right.
It's like it's like you start to kind of wake up from the dream, and you're going, and you're
well,
going
kind of
back
like you were
home.
saying, at 5.5 months, you're missing your friends, you're missing home a little bit.
You are.
You finish, you're taking that walk back down to the camp, and you start to realize you're going to miss this home.
Yeah.
This has been home for 6
This
months.
is home.
So,
Because
you're going to do that same thing.
You're not going to be in that home. You're not going to have the people that have been hiking around you. Like, you end up with people that have been around you for a long time.
Yeah.
For 6 months you've been seeing a lot of the same faces, and you really get to know these people, because you don't. I mean, face it, you don't have a whole lot else to do, and when you get into the shelter,
you get into
that's the thing
shelters
you
with
do.
these guys, and you cook your dinner and you talk.
Yeah, and you share a lot of experiences, because even though you might have like a hiking partner, or like a little small group, you still share experiences with a lot of other people along the way, and so to know that everybody is going their separate ways, and it's like you want to be able to summit with everybody, right?
Yeah.
You want to be able to celebrate that with everybody, but there's only a handful of people that you actually get to do that with.
Right.
And actually, going down, and you hitch into Millinocket, and that's your staging point to like leave. You get it, and you spend a day there, and like see the few people that come in, and you get to like, you see them hiking into the campground, and you get to be like, yes, dude, so excited, and I get to see the people coming down off of Katahdin the night that I got to Katahdin Stream, and see how excited they were to be coming down, and it was great to share that, But all of those people, everybody, it's like you've loved each other so much, and now it's like, all right, thanks for being a part of my life, and you're gonna be going, so it can be a little tough.
Oh, I bet. It's more than just a hike. It's more than just a through hike. The Appalachian Trail, it really does sound, the way you describe it, as this existential living thing.
It is.
That, this complete journey. It's the embodiment of the hero's journey. You know, starting trials, tribulations, this and that. Um, running into somebody who becomes your friend halfway through.
Yeah.
Is either they may have slowed down a little bit so you catch up, or they're faster so they meet up with you, which I think you were saying happened with your buddy Crash.
Yeah.
You know, he caught up to you and then would pass you up a little bit and you'd catch back up, but it really sounds like y'all stuck together for that last leg.
Well, we did more than half of the trail together.
Okay.
I think we hiked together for about 4 months. You know what was the most amazing thing was there was a guy who I actually hiked with early on, and like during the first month that I was out there, and then when my buddy came out and did a section with me, you know, that put me behind a lot of those people that I'd been hiking with, and so I didn't see pretty much any of them ever again. You know, it was like this entire trail family that got ahead of me.
Right.
And so I had to forge a whole new family. And then when we got to Monson, like right before the wilderness, I roll into town and I actually run into this guy Wilco that I had been hiking with early on.
Right.
And I hadn't seen him since, you know, the first 500 miles. It'd been like 4 months, but I run into him again. It was like a flash, you know, and it was really
awesome.
Yeah, it's just it was an amazing moment to be able to, like, you know, reconnect and like hear about how his trip had been, and like how did he end up, like how did I catch up to him?
He was on his way down?
No. What had happened was he had got Lyme disease.
Oh.
So he'd been laid up, and he'd been resting up in Monson, waiting to get better so he could finish, because he was 6 days from the end, 5 days from the end, right? Yeah, like, you're not going home.
I will stay here as long as I have to.
Exactly.
To finish it,
and that's what he did.
Why do you stop that close?
Right. You know, and that's exactly what he did. He rested up and got up there, and I caught him the day before, like the night I came in. The next morning he was heading out. So it was really cool to be able to like run into somebody like that. You know,
and it's really, you know, what I think is really cool about that is, you know, you develop this relationship with these group of people that you hike with for a while, and you fall out because your friend came and hiked a section, so they left up and got ahead of you. You never saw them again. You do run into one of them. It's really cool that y'all get to look at each other and go, glad to see you made it.
Yeah, like, absolutely.
That's the awesome part. And, you know, it took him a little bit longer because some tribulations, but you knew he was going to be making it.
Yeah.
Like, he's right there.
He's there. Yeah, that's the most satisfying thing. The hardest thing is to actually see people leave. And to see people actually like make it, it's not even for yourself, man. It's just the joy of knowing that they did it, man. That they stuck with
absolutely.
it, and you know, and for themselves, like you know how big it is for yourself.
You know how big it is for me. It's like, I'm so glad that you got to experience this amazing thing,
right?
Because I've experienced it now.
You know how big it is,
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it. I got a couple small hikes I want to do, and then gear up, and I'm going to be doing it, definitely.
Yeah.
Maybe get the Triple Crown.
Got to do it, man.
Yeah.
It's an addiction. If you finish one,
you're going to do that.
You're gonna I would say that there would be more. You know, I definitely have, like, it is the seed. I already like am an avid hiker. But it definitely is the seed of lots of long trips because there's no no feeling like it.
Now you know you can do it.
Yeah.
So why not?
Well, yeah, the level of confidence is like through the roof.
Yeah. The other trails, the CDT and the PCT, they have their own trials that are different from each other and from the Appalachian Trail, but you know you can beat them.
But when you've done one,
right?
You
know you have it in you.
You understand better.
You faced 50-mile-an-hour sustained winds and 70-mile-an-hour gusts, peaking a mountain.
Yeah.
On all fours, so it wouldn't blow you off. You've done that already. I think you've got it, bro.
Well, it definitely gives you the understanding of what you need to know and the things that you need to think about, so that, you know, there's any other trail. Every trail is going to have its own things that you need to look out for, its own tribulations.
And with that, you know, research, listen to other people's experiences, and learn from their knowledge, and you'll know what it can throw at you. You'll know how to prepare for it.
Absolutely.
So you'll know how to beat it.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Alan, thanks for coming out and tell us about this. Is there anything else you want to say right quick?
Not much. If anybody would like to, like, I filmed my trip, so if
definitely,
anybody wants to see it,
tell them where they can find you at.
yeah, you can search me, Alan Ninja Roll Craig, on YouTube, and it should pull up my channel with all of my videos, and you can see my whole trip and what my experience was like. A lot of the stuff that I talked about, it's all in the videos.
And we'll have a link to that also in the notes underneath the video. So
yeah, absolutely,
go watch his videos right after this.
And if there's any questions that people have, they can pop it on, man, and I'll come and look at them.
Throw them in our comments. If they get anything, I'll definitely let you know, so you can give them or shoot over to his channel and leave some comments from him there. So,
well, I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. I really enjoyed sitting down with a friend of mine and talking about his experience on the Appalachian Trail, especially since it's something I've been thinking about doing. If you have any more interest in his story and his experience, I have a link to his YouTube channel in the description box. He's got an entire video series dedicated to his through hike of the Appalachian Trail. It's a really good watch. Outside of that, we're going to keep bringing you more content, so any comments or suggestions that you have, please leave them down below, and I'll see you next time.
Hey guys, Jeremy from Lucky Hat Outdoors. If you like what you see, you want to see more, check us out on Facebook and Instagram.